It has been 7 months since Fiona was put in a home, and 1 month since she passed away. Apparently, in her forgetfulness, she never took my name off the will, so after her death, all her possessions were transferred to me. I'm not sure when Fiona put this scrapbook together, but it seems like she made it to remember what her life consisted of. What saddens me is though I was with her for the majority of her life, I am in a much smaller portion of the pictures in here. When I was young, I believed I would love Fiona forever. I thought I would never need anyone else. I'm not sure why I had the affairs that I did. It seemed to be a natural progression of life for a young professor at a university, though. For all my colleagues, cheating on their wives was second nature. Fiona never left me, though. I did horrible things to her, and she never left. We never talked about what happened until much later in our lives. Too late in our lives. When Fiona first started losing her mind, I was in denial. She had always been so strong and put together. I couldn't accept she wasn't herself anymore. She would forget very simple things she had known since she was a child. I wondered how long it would take for her to forget me, and how long it would take for her to forget about the past. Watching Fiona fall for Aubrey was hard at first. I felt like I couldn't control what was happening. Despite the fact that I had cheated on her, I didn't want her to be with anyone but me. Nurses told me it was just a phase. They said it was common for patients to become infatuated with each other as a source of entertainment. It didn't feel that way, though. It felt as though the two of them shared a bond that Fiona and I hadn't since we were young. I thought it was because Aubrey was reliable. He was always there for Fiona and with her. He had never hurt her the way I had. I think that bond they shared was trust. There was no guessing, no wondering what she was thinking, and no wondering what she wanted me to say or do. My main reason for seeing Marion, though, was to ask her to let Aubrey see Fiona. At this point, Fiona's health was rapidly declining. She lacked the desire to eat, walk, and talk. Frankly, I was scared. I didn't know what was to become of her if she was to continue to deteriorate in this way. As much as I didn't want to admit it, she needed Aubrey. He was the only one who could bring her back. Much to my surprise, Marion agreed right away. She knew that Aubrey wasn't happy. She really didn't care if he wanted to be with someone else. Aubrey was just someone she married to get out of a hard life, but she only found herself in a harder one. When Fiona and Aubrey reunited, I saw something in Fiona's eyes that I hadn't in quite a while. Recognition. It angered me. We had been married for so long and she couldn't remember me, but with Aubrey, she knew immediately who it was. After I was done being a professor, I didn't think that I would ever have an affair again. I wanted to be a new man. I didn't want to be a cheater anymore, but I guess old habits die hard. My affair with Marion was unlike my others, though. It was almost as if I was young again. I felt like I was starting a new relationship. We acted like we were kids. It ate at me, though. I was out with another woman while my wife was in a home battling her own mind. I tried to suppress the guilt. I told myself that Fiona didn't know who I was, or that she'd want me to be happy. The affair lasted for months. I built a whole new life with Marion, and Fiona seemed to be doing just the same with Aubrey. It almost made me feel justified. Almost. When Marion first found out that Aubrey was dying, she cried to me for hours. She had some of the same stains of sin on her heart that I did on mine. Even in her old age, she was feeling the sting of mortality for the first time. When you are young, you feel as though you have all the time in the world to make what you've done wrong right. You believe that when you're older and wiser, you will be a better person, that you will make better choices. Sometimes, though, being older comes and you realize you haven't changed at all. I think she felt like she had let Aubrey down. She always seemed to have made the wrong choice. She lived the "I will be better tomorrow" life. Now she was losing her husband and realizing she didn't have much time left to be better. When Fiona found out about Aubrey's limited time left, she took it worse than Marion. She wouldn't eat for days and closed herself off to everyone completely but him. She seemed to be fading as fast as he was. I knew I had to talk to Marion about what was happening between us. The guilt had begun to suffocate me. I even suggested we break things off. Marion told me that life had always taken from her and it had finally given her a good thing. She wasn't about to let that go. I don't know if it was that conversation or a reflection of all the time we had spent together, but I knew I couldn't let Marion go. I asked Fiona's nurse for advice today, hoping that her extended time with Fiona would give her greater insight into Fiona's needs. The nurse told me that Fiona's mood was strongly connected to her health. She also said that though patients cannot remember most of their lives clearly, subconscious feelings were still prevalent. I realized the only way to make Fiona happy again was to earn her forgiveness. I'm glad Fiona happened to remember her past life when I came to her, because it took a lot of courage to approach her about mistakes I had made long ago. I apologized for not being faithful early on, but reminded her that I did truly love her. In the end, though, I told Fiona that her new relationship with Aubrey was okay, because she deserved someone better than me. Fiona listened quietly to everything I had said, and afterwards gave me a hug with emotion behind it that I had not felt from her in a long time. Redemption felt refreshing. Life seems to have a sweeter scent since Fiona and Aubrey were reunited, and Fiona forgave me. She is not only happy by his side, though that's where she spends most of her time, but she beams around the nurses and other patients. I know this golden time is limited, but it fills my heart with warmth nonetheless. It only took a few months for Fiona's depression to take her. It was as if her body just couldn't find a reason to go on. Aubrey was her connection to this world and the connection to her sanity. Her death brought many conflicting feelings. I was happy her sadness was over, but I missed her. I still miss her, but I've moved on. I have started a new life. Proposing to Marion was spontaneous. It was something Fiona would have done. Fiona had forgiven me, and I finally felt free. I could go into the next chapter of my life with a lighter heart.